Hey kids, do you like Alien? How about The Thing by John Carpenter? Or are you just a sci-fi 80s horror fan in general? How about C.A.T? Do you like those? Well, if I told you that this 1987 anime film combines all of these elements together into one absolute anticlimactic mess of a film, then yeah, I guess Lily Cat is the one for you. So, on my journey to revisit many of the forgotten, dark, and gritty 80s and 90s anime films, one that wasn't exactly on my radar until I heard a synopsis of it was this film called Lily Cat. For this movie, I believe it's only the second one in my series so far that I have zero nostalgia bias for because, well, I only just watched it now. But with the premise of a slasher film set in space starring a murder cat, how could I not be invested? The thought of some weird, inexplicable feline stalking a spaceship of crew members and killing them off one by one is exactly the kind of movie that I want to see. But after watching it, I can't help but feel a little bit gypped. Make no mistake, this is 100% meant to be a discount Alien film. From the crew itself to the design of the spaceship, and I was half expecting someone to start convulsing during the scene when they're all eating dinner together. And the movie has a pretty decent setup. The characters are going into space travel on a mission that will take 40 years to complete, leaving home, families, and everything they've known back on Earth. The captain of the ship, who I think is by far the best character, even talks about how he always does missions like this and that he's technically over 200 years old if you go by Earth years. But of course, in order to make this long trip, they are put into a cryogenic sleep, so that you can travel the 40 years and then be woken up and your body hasn't aged a day. In the beginning of the movie, all the characters step into their sleep pods, and one of the crew members on board has brought a cat along with her. How adorable. How harmless. When they eventually awake, the computer system tells them that someone has tampered with the controls while they were asleep. And not only that, but they receive a message that two members on board are actually not supposed to be there and are imposters. That's right, Lily Cat did Among Us first. So, it's a great setup, really. I mean, who messed up with the coordinates and which of the two crew members aren't who they say they are? There's a lot of things here to explore and play with, but it really kind of glosses over this and in the most boring way possible and doesn't play up on any of the suspense or suspicions that could happen between the crew. Though I can't lie, I love the response of the captain being like, well, what are we supposed to do about it? Not like the imposters can leave or go anywhere. He's just so casual about it. Like, bro, what the fuck? What if there's murderers and psychos on the ship? Nah, he just wants to chill and drink his coffee. I would seriously love to have his level of I don't give a fuckery. I also think that this movie was inspired not just by Alien, but also The Thing. If you don't know, The Thing is a John Carpenter movie from 1982. It's technically a remake of a 50s sci-fi movie called The Thing from Another World, but it makes so many drastic changes from the original that it really became its own entity. It's one of those movies people talk about with the rare examples of a remake being better than the original, and I have to agree. In The Thing, an alien entity is unleashed within this research facility, and it can assimilate itself with other living organisms. So there's a ton of suspense throughout the whole movie because any of the main characters could actually be the Thing in disguise. It's also a movie that has some of the best and most brutal practical effects that you will ever see. Honestly, don't watch Lily Cat. Just go watch The Thing. Oh, watch Alien too, of course. Anyway, I felt like the imposter scenario and the fact that people start mysteriously dying on the spaceship, that would play into the paranoia and suspicion of one another, but it really doesn't go that way. Instead, you only get seemingly one character that actually cares to get to the bottom of things, who is this random Australian guy that's interviewing the crew members. As for the kills themselves, well, I was hoping the twist would be that the cat was an alien species and was what was killing the crew. And it turns out that that's not really correct. Without spoiling anything yet, the kills themselves are pretty underwhelming too. I was also hoping for some of that classic intense 80s anime gore, which there is a few minor scenes of, but not really enough. And I was pissed when the cat itself is pulled in and ripped apart by this entity. I don't like seeing cats dying, man. I want to see cats doing the killing. It sort of works like The Thing, where it kind of melts and pulls its victims in and assimilates it all into one big mass, but it's mostly within the walls of the ship, and we don't really get a good look at it throughout the entire movie. Basically, after the kills start happening, the remaining crew strap up with weapons and search the vessel while also fighting for their own lives. And yeah, a lot of the crew members besides the captain, the Australian guy, and 2 younger characters named Jiro and Nancy, well, the rest of them are just there to be expendable. But with the kills feeling lackluster and the creature not really being what I expected, it kinda let me down. But wait, there's more. Okay, so I gotta get into spoilers for this, so if you care about watching a random 1987 anime sci-fi movie, then pause or save this video for later. If you don't, well, here's basically what happened. So first of all, the 2 imposters were Jiro, the young guy character, and the Australian, whose name I forgot and I'm too lazy to look up. Jiro is wanted for murder, and the Australian character was actually a detective who knew he would be on the ship and came here to catch him. And that's a pretty smart plan, really. If you go on a ship for 40 years and you come back to Earth and you look exactly the same as you did before, probably would be pretty hard to get caught, as long as you don't mind leaving everybody that you know behind. But don't worry, Jiro actually only killed 3 people to avenge his sister, so he's actually a good dude all along. Very convenient. They should have actually had him be a murderer. Honestly, I kind of want to rewrite this entire film and make it better. Have an actual serial killer on the ship, but he's not responsible for the ship's killings. That would make for a very interesting twist. And yes, I would make the cat the killer. That is what I wanted. Give me some damn killer cats. But there's another twist. There was actually a second identical cat on board, and this one was a robot all along. Yeah, we got some Terminator shit in here too. It was he who jacked up the controls and programmed to kill the humans on board the ship, but not by himself, but by releasing a strange bacteria into the air that would slowly attack all living flesh. So it's not even an actual alien on board, it's a mass of some weird biological warfare. What the fuck? This is stupid. So they fight the Terminator cat for a bit. A flamethrower melts off some of the cat's skin, revealing an uncaring robot face. It's actually kind of cool. And they also have to escape the ship before this crazy mass of bacteria causes their bodies to basically break and melt apart. In the end, Jiro and what's-her-bitch, I don't remember her name, they manage to escape while the captain goes down with the ship like a badass. He went from being the most nonchalant character, not even caring about imposters on board, to a guy that's shooting flamethrowers and then giving inspirational speeches about the importance of living. I don't know if that's character development or what, but he was the guy that I enjoyed watching the most this entire time. So overall, I think this is one that had a lot of potential and even could have went straight into the fun, over-the-top B-movie territory, but it plays it too straight and it doesn't double down on its best concepts. And ultimately, it just kind of fizzles out at the end. If you'd like to keep that list of old school anime films going, then it's worth a watch at the very least, but I don't think it's something that you'll be going back to very often. But anyway, you tell me. If you have seen Lilycat, let me know your thoughts about it down below in the comments. What do you like about it? What don't you like? When did you first see it? All that kind of stuff. Also, please like this video if you enjoyed it because it really does help me out more than you think, and check the links in the description for my Patreon, merch store, and various social media links where you can follow me. Other than that, guys, hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and, go make sure your cat's not a robot.